There's a big shadow on the world. There really is. There's a lot of really bad stuff going on by people in power. There's so much information out there. If people are not prepared to look at it, well, that's their problem, unfortunately. Can anyone tell me about the workings of government and what these guys get up to behind closed doors? The government and the media do no longer serve us, so we're going to stop serving you. They seem like fantasy, but no, folks, all the stuff they're rolling out, it's all real. The only reason we're not having too much success pushing back against it is because of the media. Be prepared for what's coming, but again, folks, no stake in the outcome. You know, people who think this is going to go away and it's going to go back to normal, I mean, you're living in a dream world, folks. Things are not going back to normal, and it's time people prepared for it. You've got to start taking steps, folks. I mean, we'd like a lot of people to wake up, but you know, they're not waking up. So as much as we have to continue to try to wake them up, you've got to also face the reality that many of them aren't going to, and so you've got to have a plan B ready for yourself. So it's pretty crazy, folks. It's pretty crazy, the world we're moving into, and we've got to face the fact that a lot of people simply aren't going to wake up. No one knows what the truth is, and that's the truth, and no one's prepared to admit that. And while people argue over their belief systems, they'll never find the knowing of what the truth is. You know, a knowing is not a belief. You know, if you have to believe something, or you have to try to believe something, well, why would you do that? If you already know it, then you don't have to try to believe it. Everyone can see they're living in a slavery system. You're living in a people farm. But what are you doing about it? No one's doing anything about it. They're just all going along with it. They're complaining about it, but they're still using all the tools that the system gives them. So if you're going to complain about it, why are you using their tools? And if you're still going down the path of this technology and using these scry mirrors and moving yourself into this smart system, then nothing's going to change, because we are doing it ourselves through this technology. So that's what a lot of it has created. You know, this whole spiritual narcissistic approach to things, which is not true spirituality, it's false spirituality. Some things are just obvious, and we don't believe in ourselves is the problem. We're always looking for external confirmation and external gratification, and we're not really looking at the things that we should do that all exist within. Occult means hidden. That's all it means. Anything that has a hidden meaning is occult. We've been taught to fear that word, so we don't look for what's hidden. There's dark occult and there's just occult, you know. The government is occult. Can anyone tell me about the workings of government and what these guys get up to behind closed doors? It's all occult, you know. So even the main workings of the education system and what its goals are occult. You know, so people have been taught to fear that word. And that's the danger of looking down these rabbit holes and seeing all the stuff that we're seeing. I mean, for people who believe where attention goes, energy flows, it does in a certain way if you attach fear to that information. I see it all as an opportunity for freedom, because now the system's been laid bare. As I've said, you know, walk the path of the warrior. You face infinity without flinching. You don't attach emotion to the stuff that you're seeing. You simply do what needs to be done. You know, like you're standing on the rail tracks and there's a train coming, you don't stand there and scream, you step off the tracks. You can stay there right up until the last second. As long as you step off before the train comes, it's all good. No fear. You know what to do. They gave you all the clues in the Matrix. You know, Neo, the non-emotional observer. He couldn't do things until he was able to simply observe it and see it for what it was, and then just do what needed to be done. It's like when the bullets were flying towards him, he just put his hand up and stopped them and checked him out, you know, did what needed to be done. So you've got to be able to face infinity without flinching. You've got to be able to walk the path of the warrior, which means that you've got to be able to face with serenity odds and circumstances that are not included in your calculations. The quickening that's happening is designed to freak you out every minute of every day, to put you in as much fear as they can, because that's what helps manifest this reality, manifest the reality that they want. But you know, if you can put yourself in the right energetic state, it just breaks against you like waves, because all you're dealing with here is people. It doesn't matter about all the stuff they write on paper, it's how they've inverted things again. There's only one law, natural law, do no harm, you know, service to creation. which isn't service to yourself at the expense of others, or service to others at the expense of yourself. And there isn't anything that anybody can write on any piece of paper which has anything to do with your divine rights. Unless you believe it does. Why would you believe that? You know it's not true. And you know that this is just a guy in a suit who's writing down, and the only reason you're doing it is because you've got a big black goon there dressed in black Kevlar, you know, looking like this big, huge black thing, you know, that you're in fear of, which is why they make them dress all in black, you know. So it's all fiction, it's all illusion. You don't actually have to do any of it. And this is a great opportunity for us to speak to these people as men and women. You think you are, that you can do this? Explain yourself, please. No, I'm not going to do any of this. Do you intend to drag me off and escalate the situation where, to the point that you're going to hurt me or put me in a cage or murder me because I won't comply with your corruption? Is that where we're going? Is that what we employ you to do? You know, why doesn't anyone speak to these people this way? That's what I do. I go to council meetings, and that's the way I talk to them. Because it's just a guy. It's just a guy. And he's actually my employee. We actually employ this guy to manage infrastructure for us. And now he's tricked everyone into thinking that he actually rules us and we got to do what he says. No. You got to do what we say, because they've forgotten who and what they are. Every politician in this country needs to have letters sent to them saying that we no longer have any confidence in your government's ability to govern. A loss of confidence, massive loss of confidence. I mean, that's a legal term. If enough people in the country express a loss of confidence in this government, then they have to step down. It's as simple as that. And they should. They should all step down and be held accountable. What they're doing is a massive fraud. So it's all very well to have marches and shows of solidarity and to have speakers, but if there isn't action that comes from this, then what's the point of it all? I mean, it's a fraud. It's a massive, provable, quantifiable fraud. The only reason we're not having too much success pushing back against it is because of the media. The media are the ones who've sold the lie. The media are more unconscionable and more to blame for this problem. Their lack of journalism, their lack of integrity, their willingness to get on the TV and tell barefaced lies to the population. The media are hugely responsible for this scam that's going on, and all of these people need to be dismissed and removed and held accountable. So why not stop supporting them? The government and the media do no longer serve us, so we're going to stop serving you. That's what needs to happen. Push back in every way that you can and call these people out. Realize you're just dealing with people, and your rights are not something that can be taken and given away. It doesn't have anything to do with anything any politician wrote on paper. If you believe it is, then you've already lost them. They've had this plan for a really long time. And yeah, it's ScoMo and all these people, all the politicians, I mean, they've got to go. They've got to go. We've got to express a loss of confidence in them. I think it's the only way through this is to realize how much of a scam this is and how much people are being played. It's a worldwide thing, and there's so many people pushing back around the world as well. But like I said, it's got to be something more. It's got to be something. We've really got to focus on these politicians and call them out and dismiss them. So we've got to find a way of doing that. Because we believe these people are real, and we believe this system is real, and it's just this fictional thing that they wrote on paper. It's a spell. That's why they teach you when you go to school. They teach you to spell. It's the first thing you do. What are you doing when you're spelling? You're casting spells. And they write it down, and you believe it because it's written down. And you can tell people about something in common sense, common sense. And they'll go, oh no, but look, it says here, it's written down. Oh, it must be true. It's written in a book. It's like I said to someone, you could say, look, to someone, don't step on the grass. And chances are they'll step on it. But if you put a sign up there saying, don't step on the grass, they'll go, ooh, and they won't step on the grass. It's remarkable just because it's written down. It's a spell. That's why they take you to school and they teach you to spell. These are just people. These are just people. It's just other guys, other men, other women. Why are you doing what you're told by these people? Why aren't you ever questioning anything? Oh, yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full. So he wrote it down. And look, he's got a little fancy insignia on. He's in fancy dress. I have to do what he says. It's crazy. There's so many people through the ages, so many philosophers, so many people who've said that this is a single consciousness. And this is stuff that I've got through meditation and through ceremony and stuff as well. I've realized that there's only really one of us here, experiencing ourselves subjectively. Because that's what you would do if you were the creator. I mean, what are you going to do with that? You'd shatter your mind into 7 billion fragments so you could communicate with yourself and experience what life is. I mean, just experience something. Yeah, people really do need to rally up and really realize what we're dealing with here and realize that we're just dealing with people. And we've got a real opportunity here to create a better world now that this whole system is being exposed. So, and I've probably freaked a lot of people out with some of the stuff I said earlier, but hey, I'm not saying any of it's true. I'm just saying, just consider it. Consider of how we've been manipulated, and that manipulation exists on both sides of the fence. And don't be so polarized in your belief in anything. Find the ground in between, because somewhere in there you will find God. Yeah. And that's really what's missing from this equation, and that's what we need. Think of it in a religious perspective. You've got your own connection to the divine, and that isn't New Age thinking. It simply is. It's what it is. It's what you are, and that's really the way out of this. Once you connect with that divinity and stand in that, nothing can touch you.